All right. Well, it's been a good amount of time now since I just witnessed Andy Ruiz shock the world, and I gave myself some time to think about it, and it still hasn't set in what I just saw last night. I am still in utter shock and utter disbelief in what I saw last night, and I still can't make heads nor tails of it because that was totally unexpected. And I know a lot of you UK fans were giving me a lot of stick last week because of videos I made about Eddie Hearn. And now would be the perfect time for me to say, how do you feel right now? But I'm not really going to do that right now. I'm not going to throw salt on the wound. And I'm definitely not going to kick Anthony Joshua when he's down because I never had a problem with Anthony Joshua. I never disrespect the fighters. I never disrespect anyone that steps in that squared circle and puts their life on the line and does something that 99.9% of the people in this world don't have the courage to do and don't have the ability to do it or be successful at it. All of my criticism, for the most part, was with Eddie Hearn and how he dealt with the negotiations with Deontay Wilder and how he admittedly did things wrong in the beginning in trying to make this fight between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. He realized that he didn't do the right things. He realized that he said things he shouldn't have said. My only problem was that he continued to do those same things nearly a year later and expected things to change. So I wasn't on board with how Eddie Hearn was still being a deterrent, I felt, to help bridge the gap between these two men, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, and make the fight happen. But that has nothing to do with Anthony Joshua. It does have something to do with Anthony Joshua, but it doesn't have anything to do with Anthony Joshua directly. I'm not going to sit there and blame Anthony Joshua for what Eddie Hearn did. Now, obviously, Anthony Joshua employs Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is in Anthony Joshua's team. But at the end of the day, Joshua did become a star. Eddie Hearn did have something to do with that. But the question is, did he have the ability to make him a star in America? And the only way I think that would have happened was to be able to beat an opponent like Deontay Wilder, who is an American champion, who is the American champion on American soil. But nevertheless, whatever the case may be, watched a lot of videos this morning, watched the post fight press conference with Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. And I must say, Anthony Joshua was extremely classy in defeat. A lot of us thought that something wrong. There was something wrong with Anthony Joshua. A lot of us felt, not to make excuses and not to take away anything from Andy Ruiz, but we did see that Anthony Joshua looked a little bit too relaxed, a little bit too calm, almost to the point of being like really complacent. He looked almost it looked almost like he was high, like he was on some type of downers when he was in the corner before the fight started. He was just too relaxed. Didn't really have a sweat going. Um, they said he had an issue with his cup. That's why it took him a little while to come out to the ring. So that was the reason for why that he was delayed in coming out to the ring. But here's the thing, Anthony Joshua was being asked questions, and it was almost as if the people asking him the questions were trying to lead him or guide him and influence him into saying that something was wrong. They kept asking, "Was anything wrong? Was anything wrong?" Like almost trying to get him to make an excuse about why things did not go the way he wanted them to, why things um, did not pan out, and why he slipped up in this fight. But at the end of the day, one can only question what was going on in Anthony Joshua's head leading up to this fight and during the fight. Because the thing is this, maybe he wasn't mentally dialed in for this fight, or maybe he wasn't overly concerned about this fight. Not in terms of mental preparation. I'm sure going into this fight, the mental mindset would be a lot different going into this fight than as if he was fighting Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. Matthew Macklin made a great point when he was being interviewed. Him, Pauline Malignaggi, and Adam Smith were doing a post-fight recap of this fight, and Matthew Macklin made an outstanding point in this fight. At the end of this fight, excuse me, where he said, "You know what? You can say what you want as a fighter going into a fight, but when you don't have that fear of the other guy, and not fear to the, not fear meaning that you're paralyzed, you're scared, you freeze up, that fear to the point where you can't function, but having that fear that you could lose, having that fear that this opponent that you're facing has something that could trouble you, and if you don't bring your A game, then you could get knocked out, you can get beaten badly, you can get outclassed, whatever. You have to have that fear. And I don't want to use the word respect, because I don't think Anthony Joshua didn't respect Andy Ruiz, but he just did not have that concern going into this fight that he could lose. And I think as a fighter, you have to be confident in your abilities. But I think fear is healthy, because having that fear that you could lose makes you that much more prepared and on top of your game. Meaning that if I don't do what I need to do in this fight, if I am not at my best, then I could lose and I could slip up, and I can get exposed here. I could get hurt. And I don't think that, and this is just my opinion, I just don't think, good morning, hand wraps. Good morning, everybody. I just don't think that going into this fight mentally, Joshua had that concern with Andy Ruiz that, you know what, this guy brings something to the table that could trouble me, could be problematic for me. And when you don't have that going into a fight, I think that definitely has an effect on your performance. So, at the end of the day, does that mean in a rematch things would be entirely different? Possibly, but we don't know, because style-wise, we know that Anthony Joshua has a hard time when he's fighting shorter guys that can get underneath his jab and slip up underneath his punches and roll underneath his punches and come back and counter him. And I will say this: I thought that Ruiz had fast hands, and I suspected that he would have faster hands than Anthony Joshua, but no way, shape, or form in my mind that I believe that he would have that much faster hands than Anthony Joshua. Like, he had, to me, his hands looked extremely faster than Anthony Joshua's. And not only that, his timing and defensive reflexes looked much better. Like, when Anthony Joshua would throw a punch, a right hand, he would roll up underneath it. And, Anthony Joshua, people can say that, Anthony Joshua wasn't snapping his jab out there. Anthony Joshua wasn't being committal with his jab. He wasn't throwing an authoritative jab. He was just throwing a rangefinder. He was just powering it out there. But we've seen him throw lazy jabs before. We've seen him be complacent with his jab before, particularly in the Klitschko fight. That's how he got caught with the right hand. And even in the Povetkin fight, he threw a lazy jab, and Povetkin hurt him with an overhand right in that fight. So this wasn't just something that was a glaring weakness that suddenly appeared in this fight. I even mentioned it before, when I had talked about Anthony Joshua. As talented as he is, as hard a puncher as he is, as good as a fluid combination puncher that he is, and being able to have power on both sides, not just with the left hook, but with the right hand. With all those things considered, he was severely flawed defensively. And when the fight with Wilder was first proposed about a year and a half ago, I favored Joshua. And I thought that because he was the more technically sound fighter, I thought offensively he was more proficient. Offensively, meaning that he was, as I said, more of a fluid combination puncher, a guy that has a wide array of punches that he can throw, particularly up close. I thought he had a really powerful uppercut and a short left hook that would follow it. So I thought that the combination punching ability of Joshua, and being able to hurt you with both hands instead of just one, I thought that gave him the advantage over Deontay Wilder. But as I seen Anthony Joshua, you know, make his defenses and fight his fights even during the Klitschko fight and beyond that and there after that, I started seeing, the flaws defensively become more evident in my opinion. Like we saw, like that jab, he was doing it in every fight where he would just throw that jab in a lazy fashion and bring it back and have that left hand be down by his waist. And I saw guys like even Parker landed a beautiful right hand against him, but he just didn't really sit down on it. I seen him get hit with a lot of right hands, and we know boxing guys get hit, whatever. But I just seen him get hit with that right hand over and over again. I seen him get hit with that same punch over and over again. And not only that, the reason why he was getting hit with that same punch over and over again, because I continued to see him make the same mistake over and over again. And because of that, I said to myself, there's no way Deontay Wilder does not at least land one of those big right hands when he's fighting Anthony Joshua. And because of that, he definitely has a chance to beat Anthony Joshua. So as time went on, I started really saying to myself, you know what? My opinion of Joshua being the favorite started to diminish, and I started believing that this fight was more close than I originally anticipated, because I seen Deontay Wilder, even though people can criticize him of being defensively flawed, I saw him in the Ruiz fight and even in the Fury fight, even though I thought he lost the Fury fight, he was able to carry that power late in the fight. Like in the 10th round, he still had enough in the tank and still had enough inside him to be able to dig down deep and land the power shot when he needed it, even late in the fight. And same thing with the Fury fight. He was able to land a beautiful 1-2 combination on Tyson Fury and almost, but he was less than a half second, or even less than a half second, less than a quarter of a second away from beating Tyson Fury and getting the stoppage victory. So this is the thing. Like I even though Deontay Wilder, people can say he's flawed, whatever, but he still has the ability to carry that power late in fights. You know what I'm saying? He still has that ability, and he has shown that he's quicker on his feet than Anthony Joshua, and he definitely has the better one punch knockout power than Anthony Joshua. So as time went on, I really thought that Deontay Wilder had a chance to beat Joshua, and I even started slightly. I don't want to say favoring him, but I pretty much had it, going in at this point in time. If the fight was to happen before this fight, obviously, I thought it was a pretty even fight. I thought it was a pretty much a 50-50 fight. And I even went as far as saying if Deontay Wilder is a 2-1 or more favorite, I would definitely put money on Deontay Wilder, because in a 50-50 fight, when you can get odds on one of the guys, you take it. So at the end of the day, Andy Ruiz, I think the big difference here was his punch selection, his punch variety, his versatility, constantly, moving his head, constantly being able to get up underneath Joshua's shots. And after he got underneath Joshua's shots and rolled up underneath them and came up underneath them and rose up, as he came out of the crouch after getting underneath the shot, he would always counter with a punch. And it was amazing to me, a guy who's punching up, a guy who I thought was not even 6'2", probably 6 feet, a guy coming up and punching up at a guy that has a 6-inch height advantage over him, being able to generate that power coming up, because you lose leverage when you're punching up. Obviously, you get more leverage when you punch down. But at the end of the day, he hit him right on the sweet spot, perfectly in the temple. And Joshua didn't see the punch coming. He wasn't prepared for it, and it just hit him right perfectly in the right spot. And 9 out of 10 times when you hit a guy right there, his equilibrium is going to be gone. We've seen Roy Jones get hit on the temple like that before. We've seen a lot of guys get hit on the temple like that before. And it doesn't matter how great a shape you are in, if you get damaged neurologically, if you get hit in a spot and your body your nervous system just says, we're gonna shut your legs down. That is something that you don't have control over. All the training in the world, all the conditioning in the world, once you get hit in a certain spot, like on the point of the chin, like when you get hit in those pressure point areas, I don't care how big, how strong you are, it's extremely hard to recover from those types of punches. Now, credit to Deontay Wilder in that Ortiz fight because he got hit with a similar shot in a similar area, and you saw his legs go too. But Deontay Wilder is a phenom. Like he's in phenomenal shape. Like he has incredible recuperative powers, and he is just such a mentally strong guy. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say Anthony Joshua's not a mentally strong guy, but like you know, Deontay Wilder has more of a chip on his shoulder. He's more of a he's just got more of that. When you have that when you have that aggression inside you, that he's got like this defiance inside him, like he's mad at the world. And sometimes you take that with you into the ring, and it adds more motivation to you. Like Joshua just seemed too happy-go-lucky going into this fight, and I even thought Andrew Ruiz probably had that same mentality where he was kind of like happy-go-lucky. He wasn't mad, he wasn't angry. But the thing was he had something to motivate him because everyone was counting him out. Everyone was saying he had no shot. So he went into this fight with a chip on his shoulder with more of something to prove. Where Anthony Joshua basically he could not help but have a mental letdown in this fight going into this fight with Andrew Ruiz. He must have been hearing all of the headlines. He must have been reading all the headlines. He must have been hearing everybody talk about this fight. And I know he's a world champion. And I know that when you have been champion and obviously that takes a great deal of discipline and strength and focus and all that. But at the end of the day, it's hard to not have a mental letdown when you're going in there with an opponent with Ruiz, when you're a 20-1 favorite and everyone's telling you that you're going to win easily. It's hard for that not to enter your mind. There had to have been some type of complacency that set in his mind. And I'm sure throughout this camp, he had to fight that. And his team had to try to have him not think of that and erase that complacency that was probably creeping up in the back of his mind. Obviously, like I said, I'm not in his head, but I can almost suspect strongly that that was the case here. There had to have been some mental letdown going into this Ruiz fight. But the thing is, it's like with Deontay Wilder, when he was in that situation with Ortiz, and even with Fury, I thought when he was losing the fight and looked like he was discouraged in their points, he never switched off. He flipped that switch and took it to another level. Whereas Anthony Joshua, you could say what you want about the Klitschko fight, and you could say when he came back, he may have flipped that switch. But the thing with Klitschko was he had no second gear. Like once Klitschko, knocked Joshua down, he lacks the killer instinct and the mentality that Deontay Wilder has, that he goes in for the kill after he hurts you. So it's just Klitschko and Wilder just have different mentalities. Like Klitschko did not go in for the kill, and you can say what you want that Anthony Joshua weathered the storm, and full credit to him for weathering the storm. But after that knockdown, Klitschko did not go after Anthony Joshua. He didn't try to set that right hand up again. He just was so complacent. He was just seemed like he was so concerned about, what? I hurt the guy, but I'm concerned about going after him and gassing myself out, and which he kind of did gas himself out. Both guys, I thought, were tired in that fight, Klitschko and Joshua, as the fight progressed. But the thing was obviously Klitschko had more miles on him. He was older. He was coming off a 2-year layoff. That was not the case with Ruiz. Ruiz is a young guy, still in his prime. You can say what you want about his physique, but his conditioning was on point. And, he never took his eyes off the prize. Like he went back after Joshua and went, to Joshua, went to the body, tried to break Joshua down after he hurt him. He didn't lay back. Like he went right back after Joshua, and he had it in the back of his mind that, I can do this again and I can break this guy down. And these opportunities will be there for me later in the fight, and I can capitalize on those. Whereas Klitschko just kind of, I don't know what he did, but he just did not seem Like he had that killer instinct in that fight after he hurt Anthony Joshua. He was just laid back too much. So that's the thing, Anthony Joshua was very, very gracious in defeat. He made no excuses. He gave Andy Ruiz full credit after this fight. I guess there was a rematch clause, but you know what? It's like even he wasn't really like the thing was like a lot of people will say, when a guy loses, he should really want that rematch. He should really want to, even the score. But Anthony Joshua, it almost seemed to me like he was relieved that he lost. Like he didn't have to carry that burden of being heavyweight champion anymore. Like now I don't. Now the pressure is off me. Now I don't have to prove I'm the best anymore. Now what I have to prove now there's something different. Now I have to prove that I can come back after facing adversity, and we'll see because I don't know. He just did not seem like it bothered him that he lost. He was too happy after this loss. Now, I give him full credit. He showed a ton of class at the end. But even before this fight, when you're letting the guy hold your belts, like those are your belts, okay? You don't just let someone, the guy that you're fighting, you don't let him hold the belts and take pictures with the belts. It's almost as if like, this was, there was just no fire from Anthony Joshua going into this fight. And I get it. You don't have to be a trash talk. You don't have to spit in a guy's face. You don't have to, act a fool to promote a fight. But you have to show some sense of motivation, some sense of drive, some sense of fire in your belly. Now, ask yourself this. If he was fighting Deontay Wilder, would he have let Deontay Wilder hold those belts before the fight? No, because these two guys had history. These two guys definitely had a rivalry. Now, again, going into this fight with Ruiz, he was just too laid back. He was just too friendly. You're shaking the guy's hand all the time. I'm not saying you have to hate the guy. I'm not saying you have to disrespect the guy. I'm not saying you have to talk trash. But he was just too friendly and just too laid back going into this fight. And there was no fire going into this fight. And you have to ask yourself, going into the rematch, will this change? Will this change going into the rematch? Will now that he lost, will he have that fire in his belly now? Will there be a change of heart from Anthony Joshua? Now, will he go into the rematch having that concern that this guy has the ability to beat me, having that concern that this guy can hurt me? Will that set a fire in his belly? Will that set a spark inside him to make him be even better in the rematch? Or will he say to himself, you know what? Maybe this guy was just better than me. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. He's going to have to do a lot of soul searching going into this rematch. And my whole thing was, even after this fight, I'm happy that he showed class. I'm happy that he showed graciousness. I'm happy that he gave Ruiz full credit, and I'm happy that he didn't make any excuses. But at the end of the day, it just didn't seem to me. Again, and I'm not in his head, and I'm not a psychiatrist, but it just didn't seem to me that it bothered him that he lost. Like most guys, when they lose, you could see that, the discomfort on their face. You could see how unhappy they are. You could see how they're gutted. He didn't look gutted. He did not look like he cared that he lost. It's almost as if he was happy with where he was in the sport. He was happy with what he accomplished already. And it's almost as if he was happy that, he was involved in this event and it did well and everything, but he just seemed happy. Just seemed happy. He seemed too happy. And after a situation like that, you would think that he would react differently to losing. No, it's just so crazy to me that he was just so accepting of this loss. And I'm not saying he had to scream, cry, yell, whatever, make excuses. I'm not saying that, but he just did not seem like it bothered him enough and that to me seemed a little bit troubling. Eddie Hearn seemed more dejected and more concerned that he lost than Anthony Joshua himself. Not too nonchalant, too accepting of defeat. So you have to question that. Does he have that drive inside him? Does he have that strong of a competitive nature as the other two guys, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury? Now, again, I'm not, like I said, credit to him for showing class, credit to him for not making excuses, but he just did not look like he was really concerned about that. It didn't matter to him whether he was heavyweight champion anymore. Like, it didn't really bother him that he wasn't heavyweight champion anymore. And I'm looking back and thinking, if that was Andre Ward, if that was Deontay Wilder, if that was another fight, any other top fighter like Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya, like, would they react the same way to lose him like that? Would it not bother them like that? Like, and I don't know what he's thinking right now in his head. I don't know anything. But Eddie Hearn made a stupid statement. Again, I'm gonna jump right back on Eddie Hearn. He's saying now that the fight with Wilder would be bigger if Anthony Joshua comes back and knocks out Ruiz, or comes back and beats Ruiz. The fight with Deontay Wilder would be bigger. No, it wouldn't. This fight with Deontay Wilder now has lost a lot of luster now that Anthony Joshua has lost. It's not the same fight. And I know Manny Pacquiao lost a few times before he fought Floyd Mayweather. He even got knocked out, whatever. But Manny Pacquiao, had a string of victories after the Marquez knockout, kind of rebuilt himself. Anthony Joshua just can't go in there and beat Andy Ruiz and then all of a sudden get everything back that he lost. I mean, because he would have to have a couple dominant performances after the Andy Ruiz fight to really solidify himself as the man. Now, what happens now moving forward? Like, how does this whole heavyweight picture scene play out now that Anthony Joshua lost his fight? And here's the thing, too. People don't understand this, and I mentioned this last night when we were doing that live commentary show. What is Al Heyman going to do when he actually sits down with Andy Ruiz? Like, not like, what is he going to say to Andy Ruiz? Like, is he going to say to him, because Eddie Hearn right after the fight was saying that the rematch was going to be in the UK, but then in the post-fight press conference, he was non-committal about the rematch being in the UK, and but at the end of the day, people don't understand one thing. Like, even if there's a rematch clause, that doesn't mean that you have to go through with the rematch clause. Like, obviously, if Eddie Hearn takes Ruiz to court and Ruiz loses the court case, they'll probably have to pay Eddie Hearn damages. Like, his team will have to pay Eddie Hearn's team damages. But the sanctioning bodies, there's nothing in the sanctioning bodies rules that say that if a fighter breaks a rematch clause, he will get stripped. There's not. So he could just turn around and say, well, you know what? Like, and there's nothing in the rematch clause that says that. I don't know this, but in a lot of cases, when there's a rematch clause, unless it says that he has to fight him immediately, the rematch clause could take place, 2 or 3 fights down the road. Like, Andy Ruiz now is the man, and Al Heyman is a mastermind. He could turn around and say, you know what? Why don't you have an optional defense, and then wait for Wilder to beat Ortiz? And even though supposedly there's some type of deal with Fury, I'm sure Wilder can kind of work his way out of that. And who's to say that next year we don't have Wilder versus Andy Ruiz, or even after, because Wilder's going to probably fight again in September. Yeah, so who's to say that in February we don't have Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz for the unification of the heavyweight division? Who's to say we don't have that? Because again, rematch clauses, they can be broken, and by the time the whole thing plays out, Andy Ruiz can still fight whoever he wants to fight. Like, even if what if one of the sanctioning bodies orders a mandatory defense? That's going to supersede the rematch clause. So just because, don't get fooled into thinking just because there's a rematch clause that Andy Ruiz has to fight Anthony Joshua next. And who even knows if Anthony Joshua wants to fight Andy Ruiz next? He was sitting there saying that he's still like when he was being asked about who he wanted to fight next, he goes, "You guys know who I want next." So he was like still he in his mind he wants to just erase that this even happened, and he wants to go fight. Still wants to fight Wilder next, without even trying to clean this thing up and get his belts back. So again, like I said, there's no guarantee at all that just because there's a rematch clause that this fight will happen next. I'm sure Heyman will have something to say about it. I'm sure Heyman will advise Ruiz and say, you know what, you're the champ. Why should you have to go to the UK and defend your title? You call the shots now. You know, Eddie Hearn is acting like nothing's changed. Like his position his position has not changed. Like this is the delusion of Eddie Hearn. This is what pisses me off about Eddie Hearn. Like when he negotiates with these guys, even with Dillian White, and he was negotiating with Dillian White, and everyone's sitting there saying, "Well, Dillian White should have just took the fight," but Dillian White did not want to sign a fight with Joshua, knowing that the rematch said that he would still get less than Joshua even if he won the fight. That's bullshit. That rarely ever happens in the sport. So Eddie Hearn wants to have his cake and eat it too, and all these other fighters, they're not going to go along for the ride. They're not going to buy into that. Andy Ruiz had basically this was a chance of a lifetime. It was a different situation. He had to do whatever he had to do to get this fight. But at the end of the day, when they're negotiating for this rematch, and Eddie Hearn wants to, if Eddie Hearn decides that Ruiz isn't going to get what he deserves and what Ruiz believes and what Al Heyman and his team believes that he should get, then the fight may not happen. And if they decide, you know what, we don't want to go over to the UK, this was a great event here in Madison Square Garden. Why not bring it back here? Or why not do this in Vegas? Or why not even do this at the Staples Center, where there's a ton of Mexican Americans and Mexican fans, I'm sure, that will come out to see Andrew Ruiz now that he's the first Mexican heavyweight champion ever. So why should Eddie Hearn still call the shots? Now, that's taking nothing away from Anthony Joshua. We know he's still popular, but let's see how popular he remains. Let's see if these AJ protectors and these AJ fraud fans stick with him, or will they jump the fence and go over to Tyson Fury now? Will Tyson Fury be their new guy now that Joshua has lost? Because I don't care what Eddie Hearn says. I don't care what anybody says. This definitely was a major setback. This definitely takes the luster off of a fight with Deontay Wilder. This definitely is a loss for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. Not really a loss for DAZN. Really isn't, because I'm sure that Andy Ruiz would come back and fight on DAZN. If he was getting paid, I'm sure he'd still come back to DAZN. But at the end of the day, whether Eddie Hearn wants to admit it or not, his position has changed. Anthony Joshua's position has changed. Okay? So they can't sit there and act like they're still the man in the division. They're still calling the shots. And judging by that post-fight press conference, I got the feeling that Eddie Hearn still was taking that position. And you guys can say whatever you want, all you UK friggin' sycophants. Once again, I made videos about Eddie Hearn because that's how I am. If I don't like something, I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to speak my mind. But I had no problem with it. I never disrespected Anthony Joshua. I never called Anthony Joshua any name. I never said he was a ducker. I never insulted Anthony Joshua at all. Even though I didn't agree with some of the things he said and did a year ago, I still did not disrespect him. My frustration was with Eddie Hearn. I just didn't like what he was doing, and I just thought it was counterproductive. I thought it was counterproductive in trying to make this fight with Deontay Wilder. This whole thing of trying to subtract from others to add to yourself, this whole thing of continuously trying to downplay Deontay Wilder when he's the other half of the event. Like, I just could not understand why he continued to disrespect and try to diminish and take away from Deontay Wilder. And now he's coming out and saying, well, Deontay Wilder is a classless guy because of what Deontay Wilder said on Twitter. What did you think he was going to say on Twitter? After you lied and said that only 6,000 people paid for that event last week. Or not lied. When was that fight? Was it last week or the week before? Whatever. I think it was the week before when Deontay Wilder fought Dominic Breazeale, trying to suggest that only 6,000 people paid. You have no way of knowing that. How does that help make a fight? How does that help? And I'm not saying you have to kiss Deontay Wilder's ass, but don't go out of your way to take shots at him, knowing that he's going to be the guy that you're trying to make the biggest fight in boxing with, and you're going to sit there and try and tear him down. You should try to build him up, as I said, not to sound like a broken record. You should try to build him up in an attempt to make the event itself bigger. And I kept telling you, UK guys, it's not about Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder separately. It's not about the parts. It's about the sum of those parts. And you can't sit there. I was talking to a UK guy yesterday, and he said, B, don't let Eddie Hearn fool you. Everybody in the UK knows who Deontay Wilder is. And then you could sit there and say, well, that's because of AJ. Doesn't matter how it happened. It still happened. Now, of course, being linked to AJ made Deontay Wilder more popular. But so what? What the fuck does that matter? It still made him more popular. So at the end of the day, I think Eddie Hearn has to do a lot of soul searching. I think all you UK sycophants who are riding Eddie Hearn's dick like idiots, and I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call you guys out, and I'm not gonna gloat and celebrate that Joshua lost. I'm not gonna make fun of Joshua at all. I still like Joshua. I think he's a good representative. He's a good representative of the sport. I mean, he's still is a top level heavyweight. I'm not going to take anything away from Anthony Joshua. My problem is with Eddie Hearn. I don't like what Eddie Hearn did because I blame him more than anybody for this fight with Deontay Wilder not happening. I'm not going to say that Deontay Wilder's side isn't at fault at all. But again, I put most of the blame on Eddie Hearn for this fight not happening. And even other fighters, like even UK fighters, even Derek Chisora blamed Eddie Hearn. Even Dillian White, other UK fighters are coming out and saying, Eddie Hearn, they've dealt with Eddie Hearn before. They know how he is. And even they have been critical of Eddie Hearn for this fight not happening. Even they have been critical from Eddie Hearn for not positioning Dillian White. Like he did not fight hard to get Dillian White that man to get Dillian White a title shot. He did not go to bat for Dillian White. When Dillian White was talking to ESPN, when Dillian White was talking to the PBC, you know what Eddie Hearn said? Oh, good for him. If he can get a better deal, all the power to him. So that goes to show you right there that Eddie Hearn put all of his eggs in one basket, which was the Anthony Joshua basket. And he said, fuck you to everybody else. And guess what? When you put all your eggs in one basket, what happened last night could be detrimental to you. Matchroom is finished now. They're fucking done. They're done. Even if Anthony Joshua comes back and beats Andy Ruiz in a rematch, the brand is damaged. Anthony Joshua is still damaged. Their position has weakened. Their position is definitely weakened, and I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Anyone says. Their position is weakened. But shout out to Eddie Hearn for one thing. That was a good card last night. I enjoyed that card. I thought that Algieri fight was awesome. I thought the Ray Robinson fight with Josh Kelly was a very good fight. That Katie Taylor fight was incredible. It was awesome. And obviously the main event was an awesome fight too. I mean, this was Eddie Hearn succeeded in one thing. He put on a great card last night. And even though it wasn't great for his fighters, he still put on a great card last night, and I will take my hat off to him for that. Kell Brook was supposed to be on this card, Ryan. Kell Brook was supposed to be on this card. And for whatever reason, he was not on the card. So we'll see what happens. How about let's give Ruiz props to Met? Absolutely. We have to give Ruiz props here. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. The difference in hand speed was incredible. Like Andy Ruiz's hands look 3 or 4 times faster than Anthony Joshua's. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong? I mean, Anthony Joshua looked a lot slower than Andy Ruiz in this fight. We have to admit that this was definitely a fight where Andy Ruiz looked a lot faster than Anthony Joshua. And I'm not gonna lie, man. I give Andy Ruiz a lot of credit. I always thought he was a good fighter. I just did not believe. Yeah, the refereeing for that Katie Taylor fight was horrible. It was bad. Um, I just did not think Andy Ruiz could have done this. I just not expect it to happen. Does anyone think Andy Ruiz beats Deontay Wilder? I don't. That's a tough style. Thing with Deontay Wilder is he's just so unorthodox. He's just so unconventional sometimes when he fights. It's hard to really prepare for him. But I will say this: Anthony Joshua definitely has slower feet than Deontay Wilder. Definitely is not as resistant as Deontay Wilder. I don't think he has the conditioning of Deontay Wilder, and I think Deontay Wilder has a. I don't get what you say. Everyone wants to say Deontay Wilder has no skill, right? Deontay Wilder has a much, much better jab than Anthony Joshua. He's got a much, much better jab than Anthony Joshua. Ortiz versus Ruiz would be really good too, yeah. Now, styles make fights. Does this mean that Andy Ruiz is on paper? I mean, on paper, you could say he's the best heavyweight in the world now, but styles make fights. There's a lot of guys that I think that Ruiz would not match up well against. I don't think Ruiz could beat Tyson Fury. I don't think Ruiz can beat Deontay Wilder. Even if Ruiz fights Joseph Parker again, that could be a tougher fight for them because styles make fights. So at the end of the day, you can say what you want. You could be disappointed now because now the big fight between Joshua and Wilder could definitely be put on hold and maybe not even happen ever. But at the end of the day, this was good for the division. This adds some spice to the division. Now we have another player. Now we don't have the big three anymore. Now we have the big four. I mean, the big five if you want to throw Dillian White, or the big six if you want to throw Dillian White, and you want to throw Joseph Parker in there. Because you can say what you want about Joseph Parker against Anthony Joshua. Some people had that fight close. Some people had that fight 115, 113 for Joshua. I had the fight 8-4 for Joshua. I thought Parker won some rounds in that fight. I thought Joshua clearly won the fight, but Parker showed that he belonged. And Parker I thought was doing a great job against Dillian White before he got headbutted. Not to make excuses for him, but and then how he finished that fight. So this just makes the division that much better. This adds life to the division. This puts lights a fire under the heavyweight division. This is not bad what happened last night. And I want to take some shots at Stephen A. Smith for saying that. Let me go with Stephen A. Smith's Twitter because he said something totally disrespectful and derogatory last night to about Andy Ruiz, and he didn't give I felt he was very disrespectful to Andy Ruiz. Let me fucking read this tweet here. Wow, Twitter's blowing up with Andy Ruiz. It's fucking blowing up. Let me see. I'm trying to find Stephen A. Smith. Someone showed me this. Stephen A. Smith. Let's take a look at this. See if we can find him. Okay, here it is. Let's listen to what a fucking disgrace Stephen A. Smith is. What an asshole. Said, oh my god, I cannot believe this shit, I guess, because he put like asterisks here to cover it up. Anthony Joshua, holder of 3 belts, gets TKO'd by Butterbean. I mean, some dude named Andy Ruiz Jr. What a damn disgrace. Joshua looked completely gassed, more fatigued than hurt. Now, how in the hell did you let that happen? Said, I'm sick over this for myself, for fight fans, and especially Deontay Wilder, who should have been the one administering this TKO. I'm so freaking disgusted right now. You know what? You're a fucking disgrace. You're a disgrace for saying that. This was a fucking beautiful performance. I'm going to fucking retweet him. I'm going to retweet him. What An, this is what I'm gonna say. What an absolute asinine comment. Give Ruiz some credit and stop being so disrespectful. Stop being so disrespectful. What an absolute asinine comment. Give Ruiz some credit and stop being so disrespectful. The guy deserves his props. He made history. Fucking Stephen A. Smith. What an asshole. Should never talk about the sport of boxing. He made history and should be commended, not torn, not torn down. You should be happy we got a great fight and stop being such a fanboy. This is my response to This is my response to Stephen A. Smith's comment. What an absolute asinine comment. Give Ruiz some credit and stop being so disrespectful. The guy deserves his props. He made history and should be commended, not torn down. You should be happy we got a great fight and stop being such a fanboy. Exactly. Here we go. Fuck you, Stephen A. Smith. Sick of your bullshit. Look at Marcus. Look at Marcos Villegas says, super disrespect to Andrew Ruiz. The kid has been boxing his whole life, struggled. No one believed in him. With your platform, you should be lifting him up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I like about fucking Marcos Villegas. Let's see all how fucking the stupid ass Stephen A. Smith gets shredded here. Wow, look at Serafina. Wow, you're a clown for this and don't know shit about boxing. Andrew Ruiz is a killer and deserves respect. Yo, at the end of the day, you are a bitch. Wow, everyone's fucking torching him. I'd love to see Joshua still has the swagger after this humbling experience. Devastating isn't the word. Wow, you're a disgrace, Stephen A. Bitch. This is what someone says to him. You're a disgrace, Stephen A. Bitch. There would be repercussions on much wider scale. You out of shape so-called sports reporter. Show some respect to the new champion who would kick your ass in a heartbeat. Heavyweight champion of the world and the new Andy Ruiz. While he's getting torched here. Fuck you, you piece of shit. That Mexican butterbean will fuck you up. Disrespecting an athlete who puts his life on the line for a headline to increase your social media reach. Pathetic. Wow, he's getting. I could read these all day. He's getting. Wow, Caliplant. You sound like a real fucking goofball, bro. You're a journalist. Do some research. Wow. Ashley Theopane. Wow, look at this. If you know boxing, Ruiz has like 110-5 amateur record that people couldn't overcome his physical appearance. He isn't some bum. Get with it, Stephen A. Smith. Wow, he's getting fucking destroyed here. How dare you disgrace Andy Ruiz? You know zilch about boxing. Are an angry little man, a self-serving prick, and I'm glad I left ESPN to call your ignorant ass out. How about you applaud the man who just achieved his dream? You aren't capable as you are a dullard. While he's getting fucking destroyed. And this is what's bad. This is what's bad, man. You got these fucking idiots. Of course I'm fucking enjoying this. Of course I'm fucking, of course I'm fucking enjoying this. Can't stand fucking Stephen A. Smith, man. You know, that's the thing. Like, what gives him, like, of course, what gives him the right? Anyone has the right to say whatever they want, but he has no credibility. He has no fucking credibility. He's a fucking casual fan. He couldn't name fucking the top fucking 5 heavyweights in the world. He only knows 3 of them. Disrespecting the guy. He should fucking delete that tweet. He's a fucking idiot. Oh, Snickers finally tweeted out about Ruiz. Did they? What'd they say? Snickers tagged Andy and congratulated him on the win. Idiot. You know, if you're not you know what? If you're not happy for Andy Ruiz right now, you're fucking dead inside as a human being. That's just my opinion. I don't give a fuck. That's strong words. That's fucking strong words. But if you're not happy for Andy Ruiz right now, you're dead inside. You have no fucking soul. Even Anthony Joshua was fucking happy for Andy Ruiz. And again, I give Anthony Joshua a lot of credit. I'm going to say it again. I think he showed such class in defeat. But again, was he too classy? Was he too gracious? Was he too laid back? Was he too accepting of this defeat? Does he need to show more fire? Does he need to get angry? Does he need to have some type of animosity? Or not even animosity. Does he have to have some type of, I don't know, like, he's got to have some type of, I don't even want to say warrior mentality. He's got to be mad a little bit here. He's got to be mad. He's got to get fired up. You know, I screamed a lot during the fight too. I screamed a lot too. I screamed a lot too. Oh yeah, Eric just tweeted me the Snickers thing. He says, "You're not hungry when you're hungry." And then Snickers said, "Congrats on that satisfying fight last night." And then it's underneath it says, "Pick the creamiest bar." Wow, that's amazing. It said, "Congrats on that satisfying fight last night," and they capitalized satisfying. Andy Destroyer, #1. Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing. Let me see this other tweet we got here. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith is a fucking clown. He's a fucking clown. I can't wait for the show today, man. Make sure you guys tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, man, for this show tonight. This is gonna be a fucking banger of a show. He's totally getting an endorsement. He's sure as hell damn is. He's definitely getting an endorsement. PBC runs the heavyweight division right now. PBC runs the heavyweight division right now. 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Yeah, make sure you guys come back tonight, man. It's going to be a great show. H Money. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that, man. I hope you do call Hand Raps. This was for you last night, brother. This was for you. I'm happy for all of the Mexican people or the Mexican Americans in the United States. All the Mexicans in California, Texas, all around the world, stand up for Andy Ruiz, man. Fuck you, Kareem. Fuck you. You and your Eddie Hearn dick suckers. Go fuck yourself, baby. This is our night. This is our day now. Fuck you. This is our day. Go fuck yourself. Kareem, go fuck yourself. You're garbage, piece of shit. This is our fucking day. La Raza. Fuck you, Kareem. Go fuck yourself. And the new Sporting Icons, Hatman, Slim Shady, all you fucking dick riders, go fuck yourself. All y'all. All y'all. Fuck yourself, baby. Fuck yourself 2 times. Fuck yourself 2 times. I'm on nobody's nuts, man. Everybody's on my nuts. You're on my nuts right now because you're here fucking watching me because I got control over you. I'm the crack dealer. You're the crack head. All I got to do is put AJ Ahern in the title. That's my crack. And I sell it to you and you fucking buy it and you give me views and you pump up my AdSense, you dumb motherfucker. You dumb motherfucker. All you motherfucking UK dopey dick riders who give me power. You give me fucking power. You give me fucking power. You make me great. I'm the man. Fuck you. And you know what's funny? The UK still rides with me. I got texts. I got Twitter fucking messages in my inbox right now. And I got fucking messages on fucking Skype and everything. Everybody is fucking big upping me and say, Beeb, you're still the fucking man. And these are UK people telling me you're right about Eddie Hearn. You're right about Eddie Hearn. Off my meds. Yeah, I'm off my meds. Fucking pussy. Keep crying, you fucking bitch. Keep crying, you fucking bitch. You're on suicide watch with the rest of those retards. And you're riding my dick because you love me. You love this crack that I keep selling you. You love this crack, you weak bitch. You on my dick. You're in my chat. You're on my channel. Riding Beeb's dick. How's Beeb's dick taste? How's Beeb's dick taste, pussy? Cum guzzler? How's Beeb's dick taste, cum guzzler? Huh? 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 You like the sugar dick? Go fuck yourself, bitch. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm not even going to block him. I'm not even going to block him. I'll let him hang himself in the fucking chat. Dumb fuck. Dumb fuck. Eric's the only sensible guy on the show. Yeah, and you're the only fucking bitch in the chat, cunt. You're the only bitch in the chat. All right, back to boxing. Enough giving this guy giving this troll motherfucker what he wants, which is attention. That his daddy and mommy never gave him at home. Yeah, this was a good show, man. This was a good show. Steve Rolls, I don't know. I can't get pumped up for that. Yeah, Robbie missed a great fight. I'm going to let Robbie have it today. This was fucking historic. And because his stubborn ass didn't want to buy DAZN, he lost out on it. And I'm going to fucking get in his... I don't give a fuck. I'm getting in his ass tonight. I'm getting in his ass tonight. And again, once again, no disrespect. I have not one bad word to say about Anthony Joshua, but Eddie Hearn, again, has nothing to do because you guys want to defend a promoter that you admittedly... UK hardcore fans know that AJ is a manufactured champ and ignore the haters. Your live reaction was laughing my ass off. Thank you, brother. See, UK, I'm still UK's adopted son, man. I still have my flat in Manchester. When I get off the plane, I got people waiting for me. Just because some of you friggin' weak-ass friggin' Eddie Hearn sycophants, again, I have no disrespectful things to say about any fighter. Nobody's docking nobody. When fights don't happen, it all boils down to the money. I can't hate on a guy who wants to get paid. I can't hate on a guy who wants to get paid. I can't hate on a guy. Imagine calling yourself hardcore. How embarrassing. I don't call myself anything. I'm a boxing fan, bro. I don't give myself a label. Hardcore, fucking softcore. I don't fucking buy into this shit, man. Yeah, Joshua's not a bum. I agree, Eric. I have nothing bad to say about Anthony Joshua. I have nothing bad to say about Anthony Joshua. I'm here to give Ruiz credit. Title of the video. Look at the title of the video. I'm giving Anthony Joshua credit for being gracious in defeat. I'm not disrespecting him. I said he shows extreme class in defeat to Andy Ruiz. And yet I still get fucking dislikes from these pussy UK fans. But they're not the real UK. They don't represent the real UK. I got the real UK on my side. The real UK. People telling me the truth. People telling me the truth. Shout out to Andy Ruiz. This is his day. Even Anthony Joshua said this is his day. This is his day. We're not going to disrespect Anthony Joshua today. We're not going to gloat. What we are going to do is we are going to fucking call out those fake UK bullshit Eddie Hearn fans. We are going to call out Eddie Hearn. But we got to give Eddie Hearn credit. We got to give Eddie Hearn credit too, man. We got to give Eddie Hearn credit too. He gave us a good card. He gave us a great card. See, this is why we call it down the middle. This is why we call it down the middle. My only problem with Eddie Hearn, I have one problem with Eddie Hearn when it comes to dealing with Anthony Joshua. That's my one problem with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's put on some great cards. Eddie Hearn. Here's another thank you, dude Pete. Be big up yourself from the real UK. Thank you, the real motherfucking UK. Stand up. Ruiz deserved the win. AJ needs to come back stronger. Thank you. Sporting Icons, what is he doing right now? He's probably locked himself in a fucking dark room right now. He's fucking crying and his wife's banging on the door. Honey, are you okay? Are you okay? The kids are worrying about you. Are you okay? Are you okay? Come on out. Come on out now. Eat your breakfast. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. I want the real UK to stand up this morning, not the fucking fake UK. The UK that was riding with me since fucking 2009. My real UK brothers. Yeah, you know what? Ryan Hung is 100% right, especially if the fight's in the UK. Especially if the fight's in the UK. Yeah, we hear. This is my. People think, this is the real UK right here, man. I got my real UK brothers in the chat right now. Liverpool, stand up. Manchester, stand up. Shout out to the Wingy podcast. That is another one of my real UK brothers. Boxing historian. Mark, the boxing historian. Shout out to him. Thank you, dude Pete. Bro, I was riding with you from the TBV days. Thank you, brother. Nottingham, stand up. No, Wingy's not back, man. Wingy's not back. Wingy is not back. My friend Mark from the boxing, my friend Mark, the boxing historian, man. Shout out to him. He's been riding with me since 2009 too. The Zone took over boxing. I don't know about that, man. Andy Ruiz is going back to the PBC, man. All you motherfuckers shitting on PBC, shitting on Al Heyman. That was a PBC fighter that fought on the Zone. So I don't want to hear about the fucking networks and the bullshit between the networks not being able to work together and Al Heyman not wanting to do cross promotions. Fuck y'all, man. Oh, thank you, Alexander Wilson. I'll never forget that Dwyer said Ruiz would be the heavyweight world champion back in 2014. He got that right on the button. Yeah, but he didn't pick Ruiz to win last night, did he? Beeb used to be on Wings Pod back in the day. Yeah, I was on Wings Pod. Thank you so much, Alexander Wilson. Appreciate that. Keep the super chats coming, please, because we need a new mixer. Trying to fix the sound issues. We're getting a new mixer, man. So keep the super chats coming, man, so we can get a new mixer. Help us get a new mixer, man. Every dollar you give helps us get new equipment and make the show sound better. We're gonna get then we'll be able to get that Skype up and running, man. We're gonna get a brand new, nice, beautiful mixer, man. an expensive mix. We're gonna get this show, turn this show professional. Not that it's not professional now, but we're gonna get this show to be running like a fucking ESPN or a Fox studio. That's the goal here, man. That's why we need the super chats. Gonna get this show to be like Fox quality, ESPN quality. We don't want this show to be like the Zone production quality. That shout out to the Zone for putting on great fights, but their production sucks. I'm sorry. Their announcers suck. I love the question that was asked last night to Ray Robinson. Do you think Josh Kelly can go far in the sport? You think he can improve? So he goes, I don't know. You have to ask him. He goes, I don't know. You have to ask him. I don't follow him. I don't know how he trains. I don't know what his mentality is. What you think? Ray Robinson's fucking Josh Kelly's manager. He's fucking following Josh Kelly. JC says, B, were you surprised after Ruiz hit the canvas? He got up and went for it. Yes. I thought he was going to be more hurt than he was after getting knocked down. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I gave Ruiz zero chance in this fight. Zero chance. And when he got knocked down, I didn't think he was getting up. Or I thought even if he got up, I thought he was going to not recover, and I thought he was going right back down. I'm not going to fucking lie. I'm not going to lie. And guess what? I love being wrong. Awesome, man. Thank you so much again, Alexander Wilson. Dwyer did pick Ruiz and said AJ was a hype job. Also, Hearn said there is a contractual rematch. Again, there could be a contractual rematch, but that doesn't mean Ruiz has to follow through with it. If he doesn't follow through with it, he goes to court, then he could be sued for damages. So he'd have to pay monetary. His team would have to pay monetary damages. That doesn't mean the sanctioning bodies will strip him of the titles. Unless they actually, if the sanctioning bodies order a rematch, a mandatory rematch, if it's up to them to deem that there should be an automatic rematch, it's up to them if they want to strip Ruiz or not. They don't have to. It's not in their rules. It's not. One of the judges had AJ up. I know that was some bullshit. I think at best, you could possibly give Joshua 2 rounds in that fight. Maybe 3, but 2's more reasonable. You could have given him the second and possibly the 5th. Maybe the 4th, I don't know. Maybe the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th. Or maybe the second. I think maybe the 2nd and the 5th. It's hard to give him any more than 2 rounds, in my opinion. If you wanted to be a little generous, you can give him 3. AJ needs to sit down somewhere. It will be worse in a rematch. That wasn't a flash KO like Rockman over Lewis. That was a beatdown. Yeah, he got beat up in that fight. JC says, I was all hype. I forgot about the scorecards. Yeah. Who wins Fury Ruiz Jr.? Someone's asking me on Facebook right now. Fury beats them all. That's my response. I ride with Fury, man. I'm a Fury guy. Everybody calls me fucking biased, but I've been a Fury guy since like fucking. I've been a Fury guy since like 2013, 2012, 2013. I was riding with Fury when everyone fucking thought he was gonna get fucking sparked by Klitschko. Fury's the man. Fury is the man. Joe called Fury to beat Klitschko at plus 500. You damn right. Damn right I did. You damn right. And again, we are not going to shit on Anthony Joshua today. We are not going to disrespect Anthony Joshua. We are not going to throw salt on the wound. We are not going to kick Anthony Joshua when he's down. But we are going to give the middle finger to these UK fanboys. Came on my videos last week and totally fucking disrespected me just for having an opinion. And our opinion on Eddie Hearn, on how he handled these Wilder negotiations, will not Will not change. Will not change. Not going to happen. Chandler M did say that Joshua was going to lose yesterday. He said it. Wilder's going to have his hands on those belts soon. Don't be surprised if after Wilder beats Ortiz that he don't fight Ruiz next. All the belts are at the PBC now. All the belts are at the PBC now. Don't be surprised. Now we can argue the biggest fight in boxing right now is Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Wilder. I think Wilder beats Ruiz. I disagree. Wilder's a different animal, bro. Wilder is a different animal. PBC owns the welterweight and the heavyweight belts. Can you imagine? Who would have ever thought that PBC would be running fucking the heavyweight division? Once again, this is another thing that fucking another stupid thing that Eddie Hearn did. Always shitting on other promoters. Now he spent the whole fucking year shitting on PBC and fucking trying to disrespect their shows. Oh, well, Spence and Garcia didn't do 400,000 pay-per-view buys. So now, what do you think? What do you think the PBC? What do you think Al Heyman's going to do now? You think Al Heyman's going to go out of his way to fucking work and play nice with Eddie Hearn now after Eddie Hearn was fucking spending a whole year and a half shitting on him and the PBC? I don't give a fuck who Wilder beat. I'm not. Again, this is the stupidity of you stupid idiot retards that are fucking dumb. I am a Tyson Fury supporter. I've said it. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I said Tyson Fury was the best heavyweight in the world. Tyson Fury right now is my favorite fighter in boxing. I don't give a fuck who Wilder beat. He beat Ortiz. He beat Ortiz. I thought Fury beat Wilder. That's my opinion. His best win is against Ortiz. But you can't sit there and tell me that you don't think he has the ability to beat anyone when it comes to that right hand. He can knock anyone out with that right hand. Bad Brother G says, last night was a disaster for Eddie Hearn. Wasn't a disaster. Last night was a disaster for everyone. Speak for yourself. Fuck. I have no problem with Ruiz being heavyweight champion right now. I have no problem with Ruiz being the champion. Ruiz is Mexican, but he's Mexican-American. So we got the best of both worlds. We got the first Mexican heavyweight champion, but also he brought the belts back to America. So I'm happy about that. They will all lose money. Well, this is what you have to understand, Mello. Maybe in the short term they lose money, but if Wilder and Ruiz fight, and Wilder beats Ruiz, or even if Ruiz beats Wilder, either guy is going to be a monster money fighter. So there'll be money to be made, man. Once Deontay Wilder and Ruiz fight, the winner of that fight becomes immortal. The point is, Josh has been fighting top competition from day one. Now he's being trashed for one loss. You fake. Again, you're a fucking dumb, stupid idiot of a person. You're an idiot of a human being. Everyone in this chat heard me say over and over again, I'm not here to disrespect Anthony Joshua. I'm not here to throw salt on the wound. I'm not here to kick him in when he's down. I still said he's a great fighter. Still said it. So Just because you're crying, you little fucking pussy bitch. You can't deal with the fact that Joshua lost and now you're fucking crying like a little baby. Everybody's trashing Joshua. I can't take it. Everyone's trashing Joshua. You fucking pussy bitch. Alexander Wilson, thank you once again. The zone has gotten so much publicity off the upset that I think it was an unforeseen positive side effects. The highlight are at 1.5 million views. People are misreading this. I agree with you 110%, Alexander Wilson. This is not bad for the division. This could light a fire under the division. This could light a fire under the division. Just like Foreman when he became a champion. He said, all you middle-aged guys, believe in yourself, you can do it. Now all the people out there with dad bods, they're probably going to be at the gym this morning right now, working out. All the people with dad bods, they're probably going to be in the gym. They're probably going to be out there running marathons now. Ruiz inspired a whole demographic of dad bods. Anyone can be great now. You don't have to be a body beautiful. You don't have to look like a bodybuilder. I've been telling people that. This is not a fucking beauty contest. It's not a bodybuilding contest. I've been telling people that. Oh, this guy didn't look good at the weight. He looked a little fat. Gives a fuck. He's not up there to win fucking bodybuilding points. He's not up there to be a poser. He's not up there to fucking get up underneath a bench and be a bench and have a bench press competition or a fucking powerlifting competition. This is mano a mano, baby. I'm not here to sit there and admire what a guy looks like in the ring. That's fucking that's funny. I'm sorry, Eric. That's funny. B, you think Big Baby could have pulled the upset? I'm standing on this, and I'm going to say it right here. And I told Eric this. I told a lot of people this. And some people agreed, some people didn't. I just think Andy Ruiz is a much better fighter than Big Baby Miller. I said it before the fight, and I'll say it after the fight. Ruiz was a tougher challenge to Anthony Joshua than Big Baby Miller was. Do I think Big Baby Miller could have pulled up? No. I'm not. Hindsight's 20/20, but I don't think Big Baby Miller would have won. Now, being on all those drugs, if he was able to sneak by the drug tests, would that have made a difference? Probably, yeah. Because he wouldn't have gassed, and Joshua possibly would have. So a drugged up Big Baby Miller, would have he had a chance? Possibly, but again, he still doesn't have the skill of Andy Ruiz. He still doesn't put his shots together as well as Andy Ruiz. He's not a fluid combination player. His hands are no way near as fast as Andy Ruiz. I don't care what type of steroids you take. If you're not a fast guy, the steroids aren't going to make you fast. If you're not a good boxer, the steroids aren't going to make you a good boxer. Steroids aren't going to give you timing. Boxing is still a hand-eye coordination sport too. Not the strongest and biggest guy that wins in boxing. It's the guy who has the most skill. And a lot of the skill, being able to process things in your brain and see them and anticipate them before they actually happen, being one step ahead of your opponent. There's no steroid in the world that's going to allow you to do that. So if mentally you process things fast and you can see things happen and you just have impeccable timing and you get ahead of your opponent and you beat him to the spot, or you know he's going to throw a punch, but you are already anticipating that punch and you're able to get up underneath it or get out of the way of it, and you can counter that punch based upon you knowing it's going to come. No steroid's going to be able to give you that. That's what Andy Ruiz has that Big Baby Miller does not. We cannot disregard or discount that at all. Can't. We cannot. So it is what it is. So does the rematch happen, you guys? That's the $6 million question. Joshua was asked, does he need a warm-up after this fight? And he said no, he wants to go, he wants to jump right into a big fight. But they kind of did seem non-committal to the rematch. I wonder if they're going to exercise the rematch clause. And they were non-committal to the rematch being in the UK. Ryan Hong says the rematch happens in November. Wow, Eric says no rematch. Yeah, I'm not sure the rematch happens. I'm not, because I know, Beeb, in your opinion, who's left standing when heavyweight? I've been saying this. I've been saying this. Tyson Fury, man. I've been riding with Tyson Fury forever. Yeah, Eddie Hearn said after the fight the rematch is in the UK at the end of the year, but then at the post-fight press conference, he said he has to sit down and talk to Ruiz's team. The fight, so it's not etched in stone. I know Al Heyman's gonna, when Al Heyman sits down. Again, I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, I think when Al Heyman sits down with Ruiz, he's gonna tell him, I mean, why should you go to the UK? You won. You won. Yeah, it was a shock. Was a shock. Why should you go to the UK? You won. I have no problem with the rematch, but why does the rematch have to be in the UK? He won. MB says you don't turn a rematch. You don't turn down a rematch at your old titles. You just don't. We'll see. I already explained, though. It's already written in the contract where the rematch happens. I already explained that just because it's written down doesn't mean it's going to happen. They can go to court, and the court can say, all right, whatever, you lose the case. And if Ruiz if they award Team Joshua monetary damages because Ruiz violated the terms of the contract, then Ruiz could pay whatever he has to pay and still do whatever he wants. Still up to the sanctioning bodies. That doesn't mean the sanctioning bodies are going to take any action against Ruiz. As long as Ruiz fights his mandatories, that's all the sanctioning body cares about. And they get their sanctioning fee. That's all they care about. Even PBC head Rich Glacier is questioning whether Joshua wants the rematch. Steve Bunce was saying that they should do a rematch in LA or Vegas to capitalize on the Mexican. That's what I said. Or even at the Staples Center. Eric Loda said, H Money, you're right. The zone is much bigger without any heavyweight titles. Listen, the zone took a hit yesterday. Matchroom took a hit yesterday. Eddie Hearn took a hit yesterday. Barry Hearn took a hit yesterday. Anthony Joshua took a hit yesterday. There's no way to sugarcoat this. There's no way to put a happy face on this. There's no way, if you're team fucking Eddie Hearn and team Joshua, that you could put a happy face on this. Can't sugarcoat it. The zone took Andy Ruiz for PBC. That's bullshit. No way. No fucking way. Al Heyman right now has to be laughing his fucking. He has to be sitting in a room right now, watching the replay of this and just laughing his fucking ass off. I would love to be a fly on the wall right now, watching Al Heyman, watching the replay of this, eating a bowl of cornflakes or eating his fucking bacon and eggs or whatever he eats for breakfast. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, watching Al Heyman right now and just being able to even know or realize what he's thinking in his brain right now after seeing this. He must be laughing his fucking ass off. He's got to be. He's got to be laughing his fucking ass off. This must be so fucking funny to him. No happy face, says Chakal. But what Hearn wanted was a legitimate opponent, and he got one. He can do a trilogy, and as long as he can win, is business for Hearn. Joshua lost, but I don't think Hearn did. Yeah, he did. Of course he lost. Of course he lost. They don't have the titles anymore, and there's no guarantee he'll get them back. Of course he lost. Joshua's fucking status has taken a hit. There's no question. In the long run, I cannot say that you may be right in the long run. Could Joshua win? If Joshua wins in a rematch, gets the belts back, and gets a couple wins under his belt, and he wins, if he fights the rematch and wins in impressive fashion and knocks Ruiz out in 2 or 3 rounds, sort of like how Lennox Lewis avenged his defeats to Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman, he was able to rebuild. So for me to sit there and say that he can't rebuild, yeah, but Lennox Lewis's chin was bad too, so that was a knock on him. Chakal, I'm going to be fair to you. I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to acknowledge the fact that you could be right in the long run. If he beats, but that's all pending upon him taking the rematch and beating Ruiz in the rematch. So that's you could be right. I'm not going to sit there and say that, but I'm saying right now they're in trouble right now. I'm not saying they can't get out of it, but right now they took a hit. But I'm not saying they can't rebuild. Joshua needs to win. That's it. Is a big if, but Wilder can lose with. I think that's a good point too. Imagine how big the rematch with Ruiz is in the UK. I don't know, man. I'd rather see the fight in the United States. I think there's more money in the United States, the ticket prices and all that. What if they put this fight on Fox pay-per-view too? So it's going to be interesting. I think Al Heyman's going to have a lot to say about this. I'd love to be in the meeting with Al Heyman and the Team Ruiz right now and seeing what he says. He's probably telling them, don't go back. We're not going back to the zone. We're the champ now. We're going to fight on Fox pay-per-view. He wants a rematch. He's going to have to fight us here in LA, Vegas, or New York. And that's that. So that's the thing. Jerome King says, what up, Beeb? He was a class act in defeat. He really was. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Anthony Joshua today. Nothing. Not one bad word to say about Anthony Joshua today. I don't know. I think Sam Watson looked pretty happy in there. I like Sam Watson. Young Merv the cut man, he didn't move his head and can't fight on his back foot. Sitting down with Anthony Monday. PBC headquarters, says Jason. Wow. Jason, we're going to give you full gloating rights today. If Jason calls in today, Eric, just let him burn because this is a victory for PBC, man. This is a victory for Al Heyman. This is a victory for Team Ruiz. After taking all that shit today, last week, after taking all that shit last week from all those UK fans, we're going to let Jason burn, man, just because of that. Jason earned the right to be able to burn today. Paulie made an interesting observation in the fight. He said Ruiz was able to slip and counter, which surprised AJ. He also said that this is the first time that AJ fought a natural boxer. Andy 60-40 split versus AJ in rematch in LA on Fox pay-per-view, said Night Reigns. Jason definitely has the floor tonight, says Eric. Ruiz has an amateur record of 105, seasoned. Beeb, you think you should go for an immediate rematch? I'll be honest with you. If I'm Andy Ruiz's team, I would take the rematch, but I would do it on my terms. I would say we're not going to the UK, and I would put it on Fox pay-per-view. And that sounds so stupid for me to say that, but again, it's not what I want to do. Now you're asking me to be a manager here. Now, if I'm a manager, not about me as a boxing consumer, because obviously I'd rather pay the DAZN price as opposed to the pay-per-view price. So I don't want to be attacked about, Beeb, you're an idiot. Why would you want to pay more? No, you're asking me a hypothetical question if I was making a managerial decision for Team Ruiz. And if I'm Team Ruiz, I'm saying, yeah, we have no problem with the rematch, but we're doing it in the Staples Center. That's where I think the fight belongs. Capitalize off of the Latino fan base in California. Number one, we're doing it in the Staples Center. Number one, and we're doing it on Fox pay-per-view. If those two things can't be agreed on, then I tell Team Joshua to go fuck themselves. Take me to court. Because it doesn't matter. Again, once again, you guys have to understand. The rematch clause doesn't mean that the fight itself doesn't have to have no negotiations. If they can't agree to terms, then the fight doesn't happen. Like, this isn't a mandatory. Like, Joshua has not been mandated by any fucking sanctioning body. The rematch has not been ordered. And even in the Wilder fight, they ordered the Wilder Fury rematch. But that did not stop Fury from signing his ESPN deal and for not fighting Wilder. And Fury is still in the ratings. So just because there's a rematch clause, just because fights are ordered, that is no guarantee that the fight will happen. Again, they could go to court. Ruiz's team could be ordered to pay them monetary damages for violating the contract. And life goes on. So do not think that this is going to be an automatic rematch that's going to be easy to put together. Al Heyman is not stupid. He knows the power he has now. He has the heavyweight champion of the world. He owns all 5 titles now. Al Heyman, PBC. Okay? He's calling the shots now. And I know Al Heyman is not just going to sit there and not utilize his leverage now that he has all the belts. He's too smart to not capitalize on that, in my opinion. That's just the way I look at it. So to sit there and think that there's going to be a rematch and Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua are going to have their way with these negotiations. You don't think there's going to be payback right now? You don't think that there's the bad blood between Heyman, and Eddie Hearn? You don't think that that's not going to affect the negotiations in the rematch? You don't think Heyman is not going to get kind of take shots and get back at Eddie Hearn now that he's the one calling the shots? Having to sit there and listen to all the bullshit Eddie Hearn said about how Wilder's team and how he's being advised not to take this fight and how big of a mistake that Team Wilder's making, that they don't want to talk to me and blah, blah, blah. You don't think all that is going to be used against them now that they have the power? You don't think they're going to turn around and use that against Eddie Hearn? I find that very hard to believe that Al Heyman is not going to turn around and make these negotiations tough for Matchroom. I just find it hard to believe. I don't think they're just going to cowtail and agree to everything now. I think that they're going to ask for a bigger split. They may even ask for 50-50. They may say, we want 50-50. This fight has to be in the UK. Excuse me, this fight has to be in the United States, not in the UK. This fight has to be on Fox pay-per-view, not the Zone. You guys, to think this is just going to be an easy negotiations and it's just going to be an automatic rematch on Eddie Hearn's terms, I just don't see it that way. Not after all the bullshit that went on between Wilder and Joshua. Not after all the bullshit that went on between Team Wilder and Team Joshua and Al Heyman and Eddie Hearn. I don't think that this is going to be an easy negotiations. So I just think that Al Heyman has leverage now, and I know he's going to use it. He's a smart guy. That's what I think. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a tough one. And I'm curious to see. Doesn't matter if the contract was there. Again, listen to what I am saying. Listen to what I am saying. They can break the contract. They can go to court, and the court can award them damages. But the court does not have jurisdiction over the sanctioning bodies. It's up to the sanctioning bodies to say to Ruiz, either you fight Joshua in a rematch or we'll strip you. Now, when Foreman beat Michael Moore, okay, they ordered him to fight, make mandatory defenses. The WBA and WBA ordered him to make a mandatory defense. He said no. They stripped him. So then he had the IBF title, and then he beat Axel Schultz. Then the IBF ordered an immediate rematch with Axel Schultz. He didn't fight that fight, and they stripped him. Just because the court sides with Team Hearn and Anthony Joshua doesn't mean the fight has to happen. They could go to court, and they could be, it doesn't matter. A contract is a contract. You're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Doesn't matter that they had a contract with a rematch clause. If he does not honor the contract, and Hearn takes Team Ruiz to court, all the court can do is order monetary damages. And they would have to pay Joshua monetary damages for losing the case. You're trying to tell me it doesn't matter, it's a legal document. The sanctioning bodies don't have to honor it. It's the sanctioning bodies that make the decisions. You guys don't. I'm not going to argue the point. It's a fact. It's a fact. Because I've seen this happen before where there was rematch clauses and fighters did not honor them, and they ended up going to court and they had to pay damages. The sanctioning bodies and the promoters' contract are two different things. They don't have to honor the contract. The sanctioning bodies can turn around and say, if you don't fight Joshua, we'll strip you. That's up to them to do that. But they're not mandated to do that. Look at the Fury situation. Look at the Fury situation. The WBC fucking ordered a Fury rematch with Wilder. They ordered it. He turned it down. What happened? Nothing. There's no such thing as the contracts will stipulate all parties stick to they don't have to follow it. The sanctioning bodies don't have to honor a contract between two promotional companies. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to show me documentation that says that if a contract is broken in a rematch clause, that the fighter gets stripped. You don't have that document. Fighters and promoters get sued. Bob Arum and fucking Don King have been sued numerous times. What do you mean? They're happy about being sued. They don't mind. I mean, it's part of the sport. People go to court all the time over contracts. Doesn't matter. Anthony Joshua is not the mandatory challenger for Andy Ruiz. No, he's not the challenger. He's not the mandatory challenger. He wasn't forced to fight Forrest. He could have not fought him. A fighter is not forced to do anything he doesn't want to do. There's no guarantee that if he doesn't fight Joshua next, that he's going to get stripped. There's no, I'm just telling you right now, there is no rule in the sanctioning bodies that states that if a fighter does not honor a rematch clause, that he gets stripped. You don't have the documentation to support it. You can't. You're just going off of what you think. The fight is not forced because of a contract. It's not. The sanctioning bodies can strip him if they want, but they don't have to. Because the IBF did not strip George Foreman. Just the WBA did. So this rematch clause doesn't mean anything. Because what if they sit down? What if they have a rematch clause and they can't agree to terms? Then what happens? It doesn't matter. Even if the WBC made fucking friggin' Fury mandatory. They said they ordered a rematch. Didn't happen. Still didn't happen. Ruiz can turn around and fight whoever he wants, and he can be sued by Team Hearn. Doesn't matter the terms are there. They can be broken. You have to understand. I'm not going to argue with you guys. You're wrong. You're dead wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. The contract can be broken, and then they go to court and they pay and they pay damages. That's it. That's it. Doesn't mean Jason. It doesn't even mean that he drops the belts. Yeah, but how do you know they're going to strip him? What if the sanctioning bodies don't strip him? And without the belt, Ruiz is not nothing because he's still champion in everyone's mind because he won the fight. B, which fight makes more money now? AJ Ruiz or rematch with Wilder or Ruiz? Tough, man. Tough. Maybe the AJ fight will probably be more money. But at the end of the day, the sanctioning bodies do not have to honor a rematch clause. That's a different entity. That rematch clause has nothing to do with the sanctioning bodies. Unless sanctioning bodies make AJ the mandatory challenger, or the sanctioning bodies decide to honor an immediate rematch, doesn't matter. It's up to the sanctioning bodies. How am I bugging, Coach C? Explain that. I have a feeling the rematch ain't going to happen. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be able to agree to terms. I don't think Al Heyman is going to sit there after sit down with Ruiz and tell him, yeah, go to the UK, yeah, take this is the same amount of money you took for the first fight in the rematch. I just don't see it happening. You guys think I'd be willing to bet the rematch doesn't happen next. I just don't think they're going to. I don't think Heyman is going to be easy to deal with now that he has the power. AJ had the power before. AJ and Hearn had the power before, and they weren't shy about using it. Hearn sat there and said, "Oh, AJ's this, AJ's that. We control this, we control that. UK this, UK that." And he threw it in a lot of people's faces, particularly the PBC, particularly Al Heyman, and particularly Deontay Wilder. If you guys don't think contracts don't matter. No, they don't, because contracts can be broke. Contracts are broken every day. Thank you, Coach C. Contracts are broken every day. Why do you think we have courts? Why do you think we have lawyers? If you're that naive to think that contracts have not been broken in the sport of boxing before, then I can't have this conversation with you, because you're not on my level intellectually. You're just in denial. Contracts are broken all the time. They still have to agree to terms. If they can't agree to terms, the fight will not happen. If they can't agree to terms, the fight can't happen. That's it. Simple and plain. Rematch clauses mean zero if the terms can't be agreed to. Everyone does do whatever they want. Everyone does do whatever they want in boxing. Deontay Wilder didn't have to fight a mandatory challenger for fucking 2 years. You're gonna sit there. You guys have to be smarter than this. You don't learn. History has shown us that the sanctioning bodies are bullshit. The mandatory challenges are bullshit. These eliminators are bullshit. And these rematch clauses are bullshit. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the sport, and rules are not followed consistently. Just because someone fights an eliminator, does that mean they get a title shot? Just because someone's the mandatory, does that mean it all depends on what the sanctioning bodies want to do. Sometimes they enforce their rules, sometimes they don't. That's it. That's it. How many mandatories did Floyd Mayweather fight? How come he was never stripped? Ask yourself that question. It all depends on what the sanctioning bodies want to do. Deontay Wilder went almost 2 years without fighting a mandatory challenger, and he was allowed to do it. Why? It is cognitive dissonance. They just don't, they want to believe something because you guys act off of emotion. You want the rematch to happen so bad, and when I tell you that there's a possibility that it can't happen, it hurts you. Just accept facts. Just accept facts. Okay, legal action. What is legal action? You get sued, you pay monetary damages. You still have the belts if the sanctioning bodies do not choose to strip you. That is the end of the game. It's irrefutable. It's all up to what the sanctioning bodies want to do. They control who fights who. And not only that, the fighter can always strip. If Ruiz gets stripped of the titles, say the WBO strips him, but the IBF doesn't, and the WBA strips him, he's still the champion. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The rematch is not guaranteed. Again, the sanctioning bodies could sit there and say, if you don't fight Joshua next, we'll strip you. They don't have to, though. It's not etched in stone. They have to do that. It's up to them what they want to do. The court system cannot tell the sanctioning bodies what to do. It can't. They can't do it. Even VADA and USADA, we've seen fighters fail drug tests, but the sanctioning body still allowed the fight. The sanctioning body and the commission still allowed the fight to go on, and it still allowed the fight to be for a title. It's up to the sanctioning body what they want to do. No court in America or in the world can tell the sanctioning body what to do. All the sanctioning body can do, just like when Roy Jones, right? Roy Jones was stripped of his title, right? Because he didn't fight. Oh no. Roy Jones vacated a title. And then I think there was a I forget who the fighter's name was. He became the WBC champion, right? But then they stripped him, and because Roy Jones said he wanted his title back, and then they ended up stripping him and giving Roy Jones back his title, and then he sued the WBC, but the WBC didn't make him champion again. You know what the WBC had to do? They had to pay him millions of dollars of damages, and you know what happened? You know what happened is they begged him not to collect on the damages, and he didn't collect on the damages. He settled out. Settled out of court. Settled out of court. So the courts can only award monetary damages. They can't tell the sanctioning bodies how to enforce their rules. That's what a court does. Joshua didn't quit last night. Joshua didn't quit last night. He didn't quit. I don't think Joshua quit. Yeah, the court. I'm just telling you the facts, Chakal. I mean, you want to believe something because you want to believe it, but it's just not true. It's not true. WBC sue. Okay, here it is. This happened in 2004. I'm going to read it to you right now. The World Boxing Council, perhaps the most credible and recognized boxing sanctioning organizations,
will cease to exist today if President Jose Suleiman follows through on his plans to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy liquidation in Puerto Rican court. Suleiman is taking the action as a result of the $31 million judgment granted by the New York jury to light heavyweight Rashishano Rashishetty last year. Rashishetty sued the WBC in district court, claiming that the organization improperly stripped him of his title and gave it to Roy Jones. As much as the WBC would like to satisfy the judgment, it is simply impossible for the WBC, a nonprofit organization, to pay Mr. Rashishetty the staggering $30 million award. Suleiman said in a statement, faxed from Mexico City, where he lives, promoter Bob Arum called the judgment totally excessive and ludicrous. The liquidation proceedings go forward. Someone could buy the WBC name by trademark and try to keep alive a 41-year-old organization affiliated with 161 countries. Suleiman, the WBC president of 28 years, has already made plans to resurface as head of a new organization, the Universal Boxing Council, with the hope that the fighters who hold the WBC title will switch to the UBC. It says it's ultimately up to the champion, said Arum, who has the 4 WBC titles. I am going to counsel my champions to stay with Jose. Why pay money outside? It's coming in. I'm going to stick with Jose. I don't think he's done. I think he's done a good job. Blah 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 blah. Rashishetty rejected a settlement offer from Suleiman, $3.5 million with $1 million up front, and the rest to be paid over the next decade. Rashishetty also rejected an offer of a title shot against Antonio Tarver, WBC lightweight champion. Till Chapter 7, the only thing Rashishetty turning down much more in the settlement. I'm shocked that a settlement wasn't reached. Blah 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 blah. So in other words, all the courts did was award Rashishetty monetary damages, okay, because he was stripped after Roy Jones vacated the title, and then he said he didn't want to vacate the title, and then they took it away from Rashishetty and tried to give it back to Roy Jones, and they almost bankrupted him. At the end of the day, what ended up happening was Rashishetty did settle with the here it says WBC avoiding $31 million owed to fighter. Rashishetty was awarded $30 million by jury in the lawsuit. Okay. Federal judge strips Roy Jones of World Boxing Council, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is what happens. This is what happens. It all boils down to money. Okay? It all boils down to money. So they can't be told what to do. They're only ordered to pay monetary damages. So they ended up, the WBC case went to Rashishetty's way, and he was awarded $31 million. However, the WBC paid a smaller sum to avoid bankruptcy. Okay? So this is what happens. Goes to court, and it's all about monetary damages. You guys don't know the history. You don't know the history of what happens. I remember that story. So I'm not even going to argue it anymore, because again, I'm just telling you how it is. Sanctioning bodies decide that they don't want to strip Ruiz. They're not going to strip him. So we'll see what happens. I just have a feeling, and this is just my opinion, that they're going to have a problem with this rematch, because Al Heyman is going to advise Andy Ruiz, why are you going to go to the UK to fight this guy? You're the winner. You should be able to dictate where this fight goes. He's going to sit there and tell him, you can fight this fight at the Staples Center, and a lot of Mexican fans will be there to support you. Then they're going to have an argument about where this fight's going to be. Is it going to be on DAZN, or is it going to be on Fox pay-per-view? So we'll see what happens. Yeah, my commentary was biased yesterday. I admit it. I admit it. I can't believe the judges had the fight close up to the stoppage. Yeah, the fight would be big in Cowboy Stadium too. I just think it's I don't think it's going to be easy negotiating the rematch. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. How much is the monetary damage worth? It could be crazy if they claim lost future revenue if AJ won. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Everybody should know that contracts mean nothing in the sport of boxing. And that's another thing too. What if Andy says, "Well, if I lose, I want a rematch clause," and they don't, then they decide they don't want to give it to him? Just telling you right now, these negotiations are not going to be easy. They're not. Guys think that they're gonna be able to do this fight, and it's gonna be a smooth. Like Andy Ruiz was a late replacement. He had to agree to whatever they wanted because he really wanted the fight. Now that he won the fight, everything has changed. Hearn's at a huge disadvantage right now. For anyone not to understand, I don't give a fuck how popular Anthony Joshua is in the UK. He doesn't have the titles now. He's not the champion anymore. So it doesn't fucking matter. He could do or say whatever he wants. It doesn't mean that this fight is going to happen next on AJ and Eddie Hearn's terms. That's my point here. That's my point. Contract is only financial liability and responsibility on the fighter's behalf, but the sanctioning bodies can't force these guys to agree to terms. Exactly. They can't. They still have to negotiate this fight, this rematch. Eddie Hearn, we wanted and then Eddie Hearn backtracked at the end, saying that he's not going to demand that the fight be in the UK now. He said it could happen here. You don't fuck with Al Heyman. Doesn't forget. Al Heyman does. I'm surprised that Hearn allowed himself to gift a world title to Al Heyman home boxers. Surely they looked at. Sure, okay. I'm surprised that Hearn allowed himself to gift the world title to Al Heyman owned to an Al Heyman owned boxer. Surely they looked at this fight before the fight. What do you mean? How the fuck can you say he was gifted a title? He knocked the fucking again. You guys are horrible. Like, you guys just are bad. You guys just make yourself look so bad. You just make yourself look so bad when you talk. He lost the fight fair and square. Andy Ruiz is still with the PBC. He thanked Al Heyman 15 times after the fight. Of course he's still with PBC. Thank you, Alex T. Thank you, Al Heyman. I mean, you guys are delusional. You're still in denial. Andy Ruiz was gifted the title. He was a 20-1 underdog and he knocked out the champion. But he was gifted the title. Oh, you guys are funny. You guys are funny. Does anybody in this chat think other than MB think that fucking Ruiz was gifted the championship? Did he get a gift last night or did he win the fight fair and square? Can somebody answer that for me, please? Can somebody please answer that question for me? Was he gifted the world title yesterday? I need to know that. Beeb, when MB says gifted means the champ. What do you mean? Yeah, you defending him, Chicago? Come on. You Joshua fanboys are horrible, man. B, when MB says gifted, he means the chance of getting away with the title, bro. What do you mean the chance of getting away with the title? He was a late replacement that was supposed to be a walkover fight. You can't Monday morning quarterback it now and say, "Oh, he was gifted a chance." He was still ranked in the top 10 by all the sanctioning bodies. So he was well within his right to get a title shot. He wasn't gifted shit. It's a poor choice of words. Stop it. Guys sound ridiculous. Yeah, I thought AJ did look kind of weird last night. He was in a trance. Wasn't gifted anything. They needed a late replacement. Who was Joshua going to fight? How was he gifted? He dropped AJ fucking 4 times in the fight. It's a stupid statement. I'm sorry. Wasn't gifted anything. You can't sit there and say it was a stupid move. You can't Monday morning quarterback. The guy was a 20-1 underdog. And he was even behind. He was behind on one of the scorecards. If he didn't knock him out, he probably wouldn't have won. So don't say this guy was gifted anything. I mean, it's a poor choice of words. On paper, this was supposed to be a blowout. Nobody picked Ruiz to win, so stop it. So now we can't go back and say this was a stupid move by Eddie Hearn for making this fight. Can't. Took a guy on short notice with a fucking 5-week training camp. I don't care what you say. Fighting Dimitrenko doesn't prepare you for fighting AJ. So I mean, you guys are just ridiculous. I'm sorry, man. It was a poor choice. All right, fair play, MB. We will move on. I'll stop talking about it now that you admitted that. A different way to phrase it would be Eddie Hearn must be kicking himself for miscalculating and underestimating how good. Well, can't even say that. It's stupid that you read it that way when they give an opportunity to fight for the titles. It's not enough. So this is how stupid you sound, Chakal. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. He earned the title shot. He wasn't gifted the title shot. Was he lucky that he was picked at short notice? Yeah, there's some sort of fortune to that. But it wasn't a gift that he got that shot. Like he was just as qualified to fight for that title, and even more so to fight for that title than Big Baby Miller. This guy beat Joseph Parker on my scorecard. I'm not saying he had to fight him, but he deserved the title shot just as much as anybody else. He was the best possible opponent to fight for that title. No, he was not the number 1 mandatory challenger. But again, can you show me a rule where a fighter has to only defend his title against number 1 contenders? Can you show me that rule? He was qualified. He wasn't gifted anything. He deserved the shot. By saying he was gifted, it meaning when you say someone was gifted something, you're saying they didn't deserve it. They got a gift. They didn't earn it. He earned it based off of his 115-5 amateur record, based off of the fact that he arguably already won that world title against a very credible champion in Joseph Parker, and he was ranked by all 4 sanctioning bodies. So he deserved it. He wasn't gifted the opportunity. You sound stupid. Stop saying it. You're embarrassing yourself. When you say he was gifted it, you're saying he didn't deserve it. Was Big Baby Miller gifted it? Who did he fight? Andy Ruiz had a way better resume than Big Baby Miller. He wasn't gifted the title. He wasn't gifted the opportunity. He deserved the opportunity. Was he lucky that he was in the right? You know what you should say? This is how you should say it. I'm not telling you how to talk, but just say Ruiz was lucky that he was in the right place at the right time and he was chosen. That's what you say. He wasn't gifted. When you say he was gifted, that means it's like when a fighter got a gift decision. That means he didn't deserve it. That means he didn't deserve it. He was fortunate enough to get the call. Alex T, who are you telling to shut up? I'm just curious. It's just the poor choice of words. Like gifted the title, or gifted the opportunity. He was qualified to get a shot. He had a fucking good resume. He was a good fighter, and he had skills. Would I like to see Parker fight next? Dillian White rematch. That first fight was awesome. Oh, Lorenzo. Okay, thank you, Alex T, for clarifying. I know you weren't talking to me. It just sounds like he was gifted. I got to stop. I said I would stop. I'm sorry. Oh God. Even Joshua gave Ruiz props for having the huevos to take the fight on short notice. I'm sorry. I get too excited sometimes. I get too emotional. I gotta calm down. I gotta go to the gym after this video so I can let out some of this fucking adrenaline out of my body. I'm still fucking pumped up right now. AJ will never get that invincibility aura back. Now fighters will come in thinking they can KO him and take his punch. Possibly. Possibly. That is true.
That is definitely true. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm still buzzing after this victory. Make sure all you guys come back tonight at 7 o'clock. Make sure you tune in to the Ringside Reporter podcast tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we're going to talk and recap this fight more. Make sure you check out Mega Fit Meals, guys. There's a lot of new meals now. There's a lot of new keto meals now. Guys want to lean up for the summertime. They have a lot of new keto meals now. Sesame chicken. They got almond crusted cod. So yeah, there's a ton of good meals. There's a protein cheesecake in there. I know I talked about it. So definitely check out megafitmeals.com. Click the link in the description box. Buy a t-shirt.
Am I gonna hit IHOP after the gym? I don't know. We'll think about it. So yeah, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Have a nice Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and please check us out tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All you guys in the chat, the phone lines will be open. Yeah, Pragmatic will be with me, of course. And we're gonna lay into Robbie, man, because Robbie, because of his stubbornness, missed out on a historic fight. Okay. Free Mega Feels for life. If Wilder, if Ruiz beats Wilder, that's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a tough one. I'm still shocked right now. I'm still shocked right now. I can't believe this. This is bananas. This is bananas. No problem, guys. No problem, guys. And like I said, help us out, man. We're trying to get that mixer. We're trying to do some big things here, man. So any super chats that you can send us, whether it be $1, $2, anything helps. You know, just help us out, man, so we can get that equipment, because we are still working on getting that. We're going to get that Skype going without question. And I know we've been having some sound qualities and stuff like that, but we need the new mixer. And the new mixer is going to be a pretty penny. So just make sure, if you can, chip in. Every little bit helps. And once again, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you all later today. Take care. Have a great day, and we'll chop it up later, man. Yeah, we're going to get a Fire Stick for Robbie, too. Don't worry about that. And we're going to pay his DAZN membership. All right, guys. Have a great night, a great day, and we'll see you tonight. Peace out.